We have some updates on the girl that was cooked alive in Walmart. So for the people that don't know what I'm talking about, there was a girl that was cooked alive in Walmart in a walk-in oven. Customers first heard over the loudspeakers that they had to leave. All the customers were being escorted to the doors and told to drop their stuff while the Walmart staff were frantically running around.
Today we're looking at TikToks you won't believe are real.
Now, I don't know what led up to this point, but the deer had time that day.
Thank you to all the channel members for support. This is actually a surprise Thursday video. I never really post on Thursdays, but I was like, I have time, so why not make another video? And I've been mad consistent, stupid consistent. Remember, we are on our road to 100K, so if you haven't subscribed, make sure to smash that subscribe button. Let's try to get 2,000 likes this video. Some of these videos are actually like super insane, so make sure to watch to the end. Let's go.
We have some updates on the girl that was cooked alive in Walmart. So for the people that don't know what I'm talking about, there was a girl that was cooked alive in Walmart in a walk-in oven. Customers first heard over the loudspeakers that they had to leave. All the customers were being escorted to the doors and told to drop their stuff while the Walmart staff were frantically running around. And like I said in the last video, I'm sure it scared a lot of people because they didn't know what the hell was going on. It turns out there was a female that was 19 years old that was in a walk-in oven being cooked to death. There was a lot of speculation around this that it was foul play, and at the moment I still don't exactly know if it is or not. I should have said it earlier, but like I said in my last video, this happened in Nova Scotia, and the female that was 19 years old was a Walmart employee. It said that she was cleaning the oven and it was supposed to be on while she was cleaning it. It's like protocol, which is like dumb as fuck to me, I think. So there was a girl that's on TikTok that said that it was the girl that was 19 years old, cooked alive, RIP her. I could have said that way better, but, you know, I'm tired right now. Anyway, that girl came out on her story and said, "It's not me. I'm not her." And I think her name is Simran. Simran. S-I-M-R-A-N. Yeah, Samira. What the Simran. That's what it, I think. But that, people were assuming that that was her, and, you know, like I said, she came out and said that it wasn't. But like I said, there's still speculation that it could have been foul play. I'm not 100% sure, but Daily Mail did release something. They released the police phone call. I did not listen to it yet, but I know that it's released. But if there's anything else that comes out about this, I'll be sure to let you know. Just drop a comment that you want more videos like this. Also follow me so you never miss a video like this. A little off topic, but I want to show the people who stayed this long.
The police phone call, I mean, I didn't listen to it, so I want to see if I can find it and just put it in the video, but I didn't listen to it, so if it's crazy, then that's crazy.
Here's the 911 call that was made for the 19-year-old Walmart employee who died in a walk-in oven. Listener discretion advised, it may be distressing for some.
Station 5 engine for a technical rescue call, Mumford Mumford Road, Walmart, 6990 Mumford Road. Female has locked in an oven in the bakery. Oven is on. Unsure if the staff are able to turn it off. Dispatch to Station 5 engine for technical rescue, 6990 Mumford Road, Walmart, the bakery. Time to page 2122. Call will be on Ops 4. Ops 4.
Dispatch, 9 engine, just looking for an update.
9 engine, update regarding ETA for ES or for being assigned to me.
All day.
Let's see what I can do. That's 2 9 engine.
Go ahead. With the person trapped in the oven there, do you have the power shut off to that? The staff know to turn the power off? She's in there. Okay, then for if we do make contact back, just tell them to shut the power off.
Dispatch from Upper Command.
Go ahead, Commander.
I just got the last part of the conversation. I think it was the divisional commander. The person was out of the oven upon arrival. We're just dealing with regional police at this point right now.
Copy all.
Dispatch to Netcore, be advised, wasn't aware that the call was still ongoing. That just came in. You can take me off the call. We'll be back in service back at dispatch channel. Dispatch, Rescue 48.
Copy.
Code what?
Copy.
Dispatch from Upper Command.
Hi, Command. Dispatch 2 Days E Drive, Command.
Go ahead.
EHS is updated. They do have a couple of trucks assigned. Closest one is on the 102 passing exit 4A, so 10 minutes there.
10-4. Thank you.
Yeah, 10-4, Chief. Can you just repeat that, please?
Do you have some extra paramedics back there that you can spare? Send them to the front?
Yep, 10-4, copy.
Here.
Now, I don't know what led up to this point, but the deer had time that day. Now, as y'all know, I live in the sticks. Never in all my years of life have I ever seen a deer, especially a female one, attack anybody. Hell, deer are the first ones to haul ass. So this right here is a complete and total shocker to me. I have so many questions. Like, was she messing with the baby because you see it run across the screen there? And then, is that a man's voice I hear in the video? Is he the one recording? If so, why did he not step in to help? Why did nobody step in to help? Because this right here is awful. I hope that lady's okay, but I don't know, y'all. I don't think I could ever live it down that a deer gave me that left hoof, right hoof special, because it's stomping the mess out of her like she owes the deer money. I'm gonna need this deer on the next season of Baddies ASAP. Has anybody else gotten their ass handed to them by a deer? I'm trying to see how common this phenomenon is.
You know what's crazy? Deer are like natural prey. Like, they don't really attack. So the fact that they attacked her is actually pretty crazy. I wonder what the reason was. Definitely because of like her young. I feel like that's the only reason. I feel like
this is the most famous dog in the world right now, and you're about to find out why. King Charles rose to global fame after the world witnessed how he ruled his kingdom. When his subjects fought, he would calmly walk over, identify the troublemaker, and then put them in their place. Most of the time with his signature move of walking over their body. People couldn't believe that dogs nearly twice his size would cower and bow in the mere presence of his aura. There was no dog that would dare question his authority. And whenever there was trouble brewing in the kingdom, King Charles would deal with it in a just manner, using the exact amount of force necessary. And when the internet saw that he was not only a strong leader, but a fair one too, they went wild. TikTok edits started flooding the platform like top 5 King Charles aura moments. Spoiler, number 3 is walk over the op's body. Lessons in meme culture started teaching his class about Charles's rule, and his aura, which started in a small dog shelter in China, has now spread to global dominance witnessed by hundreds of millions. But that's not where the story ends, because recently a new character has entered the shelter named Tyrant, and the absolute unthinkable happened. Not only did he refuse to bow to the king, but he attacked him, forcing Charles to do something we have never seen before. Retreat. However, despite his dominance, the kingdom's subjects don't accept Tyrant the way they accept Charles, only proving there's more to his leadership than fear. Still, this threw the dogarchy into absolute chaos, but fortunately, Tyrant was removed and imprisoned for treason, bringing order back to the kingdom. Rebellions still brew each day that passes, and Rocky's refusal to accept the rule of law is an ever-growing concern. But for now, Charles remains the king.
If this is the actual size of the Earth, this is about the actual size of the moon. The moon is a little, about the width of the United States. So, I would ask you, place this at the distance you think it should be from Earth, based on everything you know.
So that's the size of the Earth,
yeah,
this is the size of the moon.
Yeah, so where would you put the moon in its orbit around Earth? Right there, okay, Chuck?
So, I'm trying to think, because here's the deal. What we're really seeing is the reflection of the sun, which means nothing.
Yeah,
so,
that's an irrelevant
exactly.
thought. Yeah, but go on.
Okay, I'm going to say that's the size of the Earth.
Yeah.
I'm going to say maybe about here.
Okay.
That looks like a day's flight.
Well, it takes 3 days to get
3
to the moon.
days, right.
It takes 3 days to get to the moon. So you're both wrong.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. On this scale, the moon would be 30 feet away.
Holy
in the
moly.
next room.
You know the comb thing
Yeah,
with cats? How like you go to the cat?
Oh, I didn't. No, I
It
didn't.
like throws up.
Really?
Yeah. If you take a comb,
Yeah.
like all cat owners try this shit. Like if you take a comb and go,
Yeah.
you'll see cats immediately they wanna
Really?
they wanna like throw up. They get nauseous because of it.
Damn.
And there's certain frequencies. Like there's a sound. I think it's an ancient Egyptian sound. They play for cats as well.
Yeah.
The moment you play it for the cat, these cats start standing on their hind legs, and then it says what happens is the cats are reminded because of the sound that they were praised in Egyptian time.
Oh yeah. It was like a troll.
Yeah.
Like, remember you told me that?
But Who knows? Because if you think about it, like there's a lot of spiritual things with cats already. And you know that theory how like if cats like you, that means like
you're actually blessed.
Yeah, it means they take away your your negative energy. And that's what they're trying to do. And that's why witches always have cats with them.
Yeah.
So cats already have some like spiritual significance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why it's interesting that ancient Egyptians, the most almost spiritually based civilization that we study, is kind of based around. They have a fucking giant cat in the desert, right?
The 2024 Hollywood exposure train just keeps chewing all the way through 2025. So I was sent this tweet talking about how Sexyy Red is a government operative who's been working since 2018. Now I know that y'all are saying that the Daily Now is a parody page, it's a satire page, and that's all fine and dandy because that's exactly what Sexyy Red's bosses want you to think. They want you to think that this is all fake and giggles and comedy and all of that. That's why this news was released strategically through this news source, so that way you would reject the truth. It happens all the time. They will have a celebrity or a public figure who you don't like or that's not well liked by the public who will come out and tell the truth. That way, because you don't like that person, you reject whatever they have to say, or they'll pass the truth off as comedy and jokes, or they'll pass the truth off as scripted or science fiction or just not real in general. And that way you'll start to doubt yourself. You'll start to discount what your eyes and what your ears are telling you. That way you don't really have to be lied to. You lie to yourself. It's a trick that the powers that be have been pulling off since the beginning of time, and y'all keep falling for it. Why do you think Sexyy Red has been pushed so hard? Why do you think she came out of the blue with all of these major features and all of this radio play, all of this budget, all of this promotion? You know, Drake pushing her for why she's got no talent. She's pushing all these negative messages. She's selling lip gloss by the name of some very foul names. Why do you think she's been able to have the illusion of success? And I say the illusion because when it came time for people to buy her concert tickets, she wasn't really selling tickets because y'all don't really want this, because so many of y'all really know the truth. Y'all know that this headline is true. It doesn't matter who said it. The truth is the truth, and the truth can't be changed. Why do you think the industry is pushing her so hard? Because she's just so beautiful and talented? No, because she's culturally critical to the agenda. Let's talk in the comments.
These animals are not looking at you. These animals are looking at you. Have you ever looked a bird or a horse or a squirrel just straight up, like y'all staring at each other like this, right? You think the shit is looking at you? You take a step forward, you get one of these. Now they're alert. Now it's like, okay, do something, and I'm moving. Like, I've never understood that. I do kind of get, like, you know, as humans, our eyes are just facing forward like this all the time, right? But for a bird, it's like, I don't know how to describe it to you or show you guys, but his eyes are like, their eyes are on the other side of their heads. Like, same for a squirrel and a horse. Can anyone show me or tell me what their vision actually looks like? If they can't see anything straight on, does that mean I can just walk like directly in front of them and they won't see me until they move their heads? I feel as though that's like a really weird adaptation for looking out for predators and shit. Like, you have so many blind spots.
It's one of the most infamous moments in pop culture. Britney Spears' 2007 VMA performance, the one that was supposed to be her comeback, but became a complete disaster. Well, now fans think they know why it went so wrong. Turns out just hours before that performance, Britney was partying in Vegas with none other than Diddy, Cassie, and 50 Cent. Yep, the night before, she was spotted at not one, but 2 parties. She hadn't slept, looked out of it in photos, and according to her own memoir, was having a full-on panic attack before stepping on stage. Fast forward, and Diddy's name is back in the headlines for serious allegations, and Britney's name popped up in court tied to that same wild night. Cassie even testified that Britney was at her 21st birthday, the night she and Diddy first kissed. Fans are calling this chaotic Vegas trip the real catalyst for Britney's downward spiral and the start of her 13-year conservatorship.
President Trump has officially made an offer to Canada for them to become the 51st state of the United States. And according to him, They are considering taking him up on his offer. Okay, so here's Trump's offer. If Canada becomes the 51st state of America, they will get full protection from the brand new Golden Dome that is being built in the next 3 years, and they will not have to pay a single penny if they become the 51st state. Now, if they don't want to become the 51st state, but they want protection from this state-of-the-art Golden Dome that we're going to be building, then they would have to pay the United States $61 billion per year. Now, even though President Trump has said that Canada is considering taking him up on his offer, I'm a betting man, and I would have to say that the odds of this actually happening are like plus 10 gazillion odds to 1. Now, on top of this, side note, I've said this in a previous video, I still don't understand President Trump's obsession with trying to make Canada the 51st state of America, because as we all know, Canada is a very liberal state, and the size and population of Canada would essentially make it so that Republicans would never win another election again. You're basically multiplying California, and the road to victory for any Republican to ever be president ever again would be extremely difficult. With that being said, what do you guys think? Do you think Canada would actually take him up on this offer? And also, side note, again, just the sentence saying that Canada may become the 51st state of America because they want to be protected by a Golden Dome is one of the most preposterous things I've ever said in my entire life.
Can one of the world's strongest men really break out of handcuffs? Starting with level 1, plastic zip ties. Whoa, you almost hit me with that. That was so easy for you. What the heck? Next, we got these pink fluffy handcuffs. I know they look harmless, but don't underestimate them. All right, let's roll. Oh my gosh, that was so easy. You snapped that like a twig. Before we go on this next one, it's going to get very difficult. You sure you can handle this?
I'll do my best.
Okay, for level 3, you're going to try to break out of police-grade handcuffs.
Let's do it.
To put things into perspective, police-grade handcuffs can withstand 500 pounds of force, while the average person can only exert 50 to 80 pounds of force. But can the world's strongest man break out of them? Let's find out. Pressure is on. He's doing some sort of maneuver, so he's getting in the position so that he can exert the right force to break these. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. So it looks like he's trying to get a point where he can apply pressure. Here we go. Oh! That's insane! That's a clean break. Wow! That's insane.
Popcorn lung sounds funny, but actually it's irreversible and deadly. So popcorn factory workers in the mid-90s started developing unusual and severe lung diseases. And it turns out the actual butter flavor in microwave popcorn contains a chemical called diacetyl. Prolonged exposure over time caused the workers' airways to swell up and get stiff, like dried out rubber bands. For them, breathing felt like sucking air through a clogged coffee straw. The saddest part? It's irreversible. There's no cure. Subscribe.
Unfortunately, by the time you guys are watching this video, the guy that's in the intro here is no longer alive. For those of you guys who have watched my channel for a while, you more than likely already know what's going on here. We can see this guy shaking uncontrollably. He seems to be hyping himself up to drink some water, but instead of being able to swallow it, he spills it everywhere and he starts freaking out. And this is known as hydrophobia, otherwise known as fear of water, but specifically, it's a symptom of something much worse, rabies. So the man seen in this footage is actually a Ukrainian soldier. The clip has been going viral on Reddit for quite some time, and apparently, according to people who translated it, this guy got bit by a stray cat 4 months ago and then started presenting these symptoms. Also, according to translators, this guy does not know what rabies is, so he really doesn't know how bad his prognosis is, or the fact that he is 99.99% likely to die. For those that don't know, rabies is an extremely dangerous virus with a very high mortality rate that has been plaguing us for quite some time. And of course, it's spread through the bites and saliva of infected animals like foxes, skunks, raccoons, or bats, but it can also impact domesticated animals like cats or dogs. And due to the war, this is actually a relatively big issue that Ukraine has been dealing with because a lot of individuals had to be evacuated and they abandoned their pets. Their pets then in turn started developing rabies and getting it from wildlife, and in turn, soldiers have been getting it and civilians. For this unfortunate soldier, he probably didn't really think much of this abandoned feral cat, probably just thought it was angry and defending itself, when in fact it had this deadly disease. The worst part about this though is that this guy easily could have been saved had he been aware of what rabies was and gotten a vaccine prior to showing symptoms. The saddest part about rabies is once you start showing symptoms, it's virtually impossible to survive. There have been individuals who have been lucky in the past and sedated. They've lost a lot of their brain function but made it out. But in general, people do not survive it. So in my opinion, this video is already very disturbing on an individual level, but it showcases something that a lot of people aren't talking about, and that's the fact that rabies is on the rise in Ukraine due to the war. As always, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Drop a comment letting me know what you want to see next. I also have my Patreon links down here in the description if you guys want to check that out and help support the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Trump is striking down elitist universities and creating more trade schools by using this three-step plan that could redefine the American education system. For decades, the US has largely ignored the needs of working-class students whilst funneling billions in federal support into top-tier colleges. Trump wants to end this unfair preferential treatment for the elites and invest in blue-collar Americans through three bold policies. First, he will level the playing field by stripping elite universities of their tax-exempt status, a benefit that most trade and technical schools don't enjoy. Next, he's cutting off a major revenue source for US colleges by imposing strict limits on foreign student visas, forcing these colleges to focus on educating American citizens rather than rich international families. And finally, Trump will give the millions of Americans who don't have a college degree a clear, high-quality path to well-paying careers by redirecting tens of billions of dollars worth of federal funding away from universities and into building up the nation's trade schools network.
If you were thinking about studying in America, you might want to watch out what you're posting on social media. The Trump administration has just suspended all new student visa applications at US embassies around the world. And the reason why shocked everyone. According to a leaked cable, they're suspending applications while they set up a whole new system for much deeper social media screenings of students that want to come to the United States. And the memo suggests that it's not just what you post, but they also want to be able to look at your comments, shares, likes, basically your entire online footprint across all social media platforms dating back years. Now, what specifically they're looking for isn't as clear. It's kind of just what they deem as a threat to the United States. But what we do know is earlier this year, Trump ordered social media vetting for all applicants who have been to Gaza in the last 18 years. And then that, along with the recent arrest of foreign students involved in pro-Palestinian protests, seems to indicate that they could be partly looking for posts that signal anti-Semitism or a anti-Israel rhetoric. Of course, among other things. But the question is this too far or exactly what the majority of Americans voted for?
Creepy real photos that keep me up at night part 4. This photo was posted to Reddit and was taken on a digital camera when OP and her friends were hiking in New Hampshire. They were looking back through their photos and they noticed something weird. This person's obviously supposed to be there. That guy up there is supposed to be there, but who is that? OP went through every single photo that she had ever taken with the camera to verify that it wasn't just a portion of another photo that's superimposed over this one, but she couldn't find anything. She posted the EXIF files to Reddit to prove that it wasn't photoshopped. She was genuinely looking for answers, but no one could explain this photo. Follow for more creepy real photos.
Did you know that gorillas will burp when they're happy? Or that geckos lick their eyes to keep them clean because they don't have eyelids? And that's just facts number 1 and 2. Animals are amazing, and today I want to share some of the most random animal facts that I could find. Let me know in the comments section how many of these surprised you. Let's get into it. Sick crows will use ants to feel better. When a crow gets sick, rather than going to CVS, it will head over to the nearest anthole, spread its wings, and wait for the ants to crawl all over its body. As the ants crawl across the crow's body, they release formic acid, a substance which helps get rid of parasites, certain fungi, and bacteria. The crow world's penicillin, which allows the crows to recover and feel a lot better. Polar bears are not actually white. The skin of a polar bear is very dark, which helps it absorb and retain the heat that their environment is lacking. If you took a closer look at those individual hairs, you would see that they're actually hollow. The purpose of these hollow tubes is to function like mini magnifying glasses, taking the sun's heat and concentrating it onto the polar bear's skin. So the next time you see a polar bear acting all tough in the cold, just know that it's got a secret internal heater. Have you ever wondered how far down into the ground earthworms go? While they typically live in the top 3 feet of soil, in times of drought or during the winter, they have been known to go a lot deeper than that. Certain species of earthworms have been found as deep as 10 feet below the surface. Blobfish often win the title of the world's most ugly animal, but calling them ugly is a little bit unfair. When a blobfish is at its natural habitat of 2,000 to 4,000 feet below sea level, they actually look like a pretty standard fish. The intense pressure at this depth is actually what the body structure is used to, and it keeps them intact. When blobfish are brought to the surface, the lack of pressure causes them to swell up, collapsing their body tissues and resulting in the blobby, gelatinous appearance for which they are internet famous. Everyone's favorite little trash goblin, the opossum, is not struggling to keep its numbers up. In fact, they're reproduction superstars. An opossum can have up to 13 surviving babies per litter, with up to 3 litters per year. Meaning when a female opossum is in the reproductive phase of its life, it could be shooting out up to 39 babies per year. That's a lot of birthdays to remember. If you thought the human cardiovascular system was hard to understand, octopi have 3 hearts. 2 of these hearts pump blood to the gills where they pick up oxygen, while the third pumps the oxygenated blood to the rest of the body. While we're talking about octopi blood, did you know that it's blue? This is due to the presence of hemocyanin, which is a protein rich in copper that helps transport oxygen and gives blood a blue color. Woodpeckers are not always pecking on wood. In fact, in 2025, there was one woodpecker menace in Massachusetts that damaged more than 20 cars by pecking away at the windows and mirrors. Reports described him as 18 to 24 inches tall, wearing black and white with a red hat. No, and this is not a joke. And as far as my research can tell, he has not been caught and is still running from the law. Sloths can hold their breath longer than dolphins can. They can slow their heart rate so effectively that they can hold their breath for up to 40 full minutes. For dolphins, 8 to 10 minutes is the typical length of time they spend underwater before emerging for a breath of fresh air. A shrimp's heart is actually located in its head, right below the brain. Axolotls are like real-life Pokemon, and it's not just how they look. Axolotls have the ability to regenerate limbs that have been cut off. And I'm not talking just fingers and arms here. If an axolotl happens to get separated from its heart or brain, it'll simply regrow another one in its place, which makes me wonder if it'll have the same memories or personality. What insect has the best jump relative to its size? The answer is the froghopper, which has nothing to do with an actual frog. The froghopper can jump a distance of 100 times their body length. For comparison, this would be the equivalent of a 6-foot human being able to jump nearly 2 American football fields. Elephants can hear with their feet, sort of. These tree trunk feet are made for walking, but that's not all they'll do. Elephant feet have specialized nerve receptors that function to pick up seismic vibration. These vibrations allow them to communicate with each other, detect predators, and sense environmental conditions such as thunderstorms. Wombat poop is cube-shaped. It is believed that the reason for this is that the shape helps it stay in place better to mark its territory. It might mark the territory better, but sure sounds uncomfortable to me. I can think of 3 better ways to mark my territory. Jellyfish have the casual ability to live forever. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this. This specific species of jellyfish has been observed reverting to its immature form when exposed to stress or damage. As far as we know, this can be repeated indefinitely, allowing the jellyfish to dodge the afterlife, although it can still pass to the other side due to predators or disease. This whole thing is a lot like the Avatar cycle. Pistol shrimp stun their prey with sound. Their claw snaps create a sonic boom that can reach 218 decibels, louder than a gunshot. This leaves their prey dazed, confused, and ready to be eaten. Cows have best friends. Research has shown that when cows are separated from their special friend, they experience stress, which is both the saddest and cutest thing that I've heard all day. Hey guys, have you seen John anywhere? Greg, I'm right here. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance, which is just about as fun as you would expect. During times of drought, when resources are scarce, certain species of snails can sleep for up to 3 years. This state of prolonged dormancy allows them to significantly slow down their metabolism and conserve resources until environmental conditions improve. Alfred Hitchcock was onto something when he made the famous horror movie The Birds. Don't ever get on the bad side of a crow, because they can hold grudges. These animals have amazing face recognition abilities and an excellent memory. Crows have been proven to remember human faces for multiple years, and can even share information about dangerous humans amongst other crows. This dude's a jerk, no breadcrumbs. In the world of seahorses, the father is actually the one that gives birth to the young. When a seahorse mates, the female injects an egg into the male, where he'll fertilize it and then carry the young. Butterflies taste things with their feet. When they land on objects, they will use chemoreceptors on their feet to essentially taste whatever surface that they've just landed on. If the surface is bitter or toxic, they'll move on, but if something tastes sweet, they'll uncoil their proboscis, which is like a mouth tube, and dig in. Which, can you imagine if this is how humans worked? Like, you're just sitting at a restaurant, hey, mind if I try a bite of your pasta? Yeah, no problem. Oh, come on! What, you said I could try it? Well, I didn't think you put your foot in it. Well, I wanted to taste it, man. Why would I just want to put it in my mouth? Bam, dinner is ruined and awkward for everyone now, and I bet the pasta wasn't even that good. Koalas have been committing crimes and framing humans for decades. Potentially. Just like humans, every koala bear has a unique fingerprint on both their fingers and their toes. These fingerprints are extremely similar in shape and pattern to humans and often cannot be distinguished. Dolphins give each other names. That's right, those dolphin chirps and squeaks that you've heard before, not just dolphin gibberish. Dolphins will assign each friend a unique squeaky name. I'm gonna name you... Narwhals are known for their signature unicorn forehead horn that can grow up to 10 feet long, except it's not a horn. This is actually a tooth, making it the largest known tooth in the animal kingdom. Dude's out here looking like the Timmy Turner of the fish world. If you were to take a tiger and shave it, you might be surprised to see that not only the tigers have striped fur, but their skin is also striped. The birthday suit matches the coat. Certain types of shark can live for an impressively long amount of time. It's estimated that the Greenland shark can live up to 500 years old, meaning that there are sharks alive today that were born in 1525, which is just low-key insane. The Pilgrims came to America in 1620 and could have seen a 100-year-old shark that's still alive today. Alright, this one is pretty gross, so viewer discretion is advised. Pregnancy tests are generally not used in the animal kingdom, but male giraffes are able to check for female fertility by tasting their urine. Someone please make a pregnancy test for giraffes so these guys can stop. A group of porcupines is called a prickle, which sounds a little bit less severe than the amount of damage a group of porcupines could really cause, but kudos for being somewhat descriptive. Ostriches have the largest eyes of any land animal. Their eyes have a diameter of 2 inches long and are bigger than their brains. For comparison, a human eye has a diameter of about 1 inch. Picture in your mind the Golden Gate Bridge. Now picture it made out of ants. Slightly horrifying, but still very cool. Ants can build themselves living bridges using their bodies to span gaps and make traversal easier for the nest. The parrotfish poops sand. That's right, this beautiful fish eats coral as part of its diet, where it is ground up into sand by the fish's digestive system. The result? Up to 200 pounds of sand produced per year per fish. Humans are not the only species to propose with special gifts. Penguins propose with pebbles. Male penguins will search long and hard for the perfect rock to give a potential mate as a sign of affection. If the female accepts, they'll use this pebble to begin building a nest, making the gift both practical and romantic. Sea otters hold paws while they sleep. Aside from being cute, it makes sure that they don't drift apart while they snooze. This behavior is known as rafting and has to be one of the cutest things in the animal kingdom. Can you imagine if they didn't? Go to bed and wake up in the middle of the ocean? Guys? A newborn kangaroo is the size of a jelly bean, and kinda looks like one too. Luckily, it has a 5-month full-time stay booked at the Pouch Inn, so it can grow safely. Lyrebirds are the world's best impersonators. Not only can they mimic the sound of over 20 different birds, they also have been observed mimicking chainsaw noises and camera clicks. So for all of you complaining about hearing bird chirps at 5 a.m., at least your birds don't sound like literal chainsaws. Sharks are not the biggest and baddest in the ocean like they pretend to be. Turns out that orcas are the apex predator and will hunt sharks. Manatees can control buoyancy through their gas reserves. That's right, just like an underwater submarine, the gas within them keeps them buoyant, meaning that lowering is just a matter of... Did you know that rats laugh when they're tickled? Not sure what kind of situation you'd be in that you're tickling a rat, but now you know. A group of ravens is called a murder, because apparently even their social lives are straight out of a horror movie. Dogs have unique nose prints, like tiny, wet fingerprints they insist on pressing all over your clean pants. Starfish have no brains and no blood. They use water to circulate nutrients in their body. As for brains, I guess Patrick's whole personality is starting to make a lot more sense. During mating, a male anglerfish will fuse to the female, becoming a permanent part of her body. This fusion allows them to share blood and tissues in a nutrient-poor environment. The male essentially becomes a sperm-producing appendage on the female, which is convenient when you live in a deep ocean where finding a mate can be a little bit difficult. Talk about a parasitic partner. Tarantulas can live up to 2 years without food, thanks to their extremely low metabolism, which definitely comes in handy in times of drought or when food is scarce. It's like the ultimate crash diet. As if looking like a rejected Pokemon wasn't enough, the platypus is venomous. These little Pablo Picasso paintings have a spur on the back of their legs that can inject potential predators with venom if needed. Add snake to the list of animals that a platypus kind of resembles. And that's 47 amazing animal facts. Let me know in the comments below if you learned something new, or if I missed your favorite animal fact. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you haven't already. It helps me a lot. Thanks for watching.
Good evening, Brett. President Trump's patience appears to be running thin. The White House is actively reviewing sanctions options, and already the Senate has a veto-proof bill ready that would slap 500% tariffs on any country that buys Russian energy. So far, though, the response from Russian officials has been to dismiss Trump's statements as emotional overload and taunt him. Putin lackey Dmitry Medvedev, who served as the bridge between Putin's presidential terms, posting an implicit threat as President Trump weighs harsh sanctions on Russia. Medvedev posting online, quote, regarding Trump's words about Putin playing with fire and really bad things happening to Russia, I only know of one really bad thing, World War III. I hope Trump understands this. Trump is increasingly frustrated with Putin. Peace talks stalled as Russia continues to rain missiles and drones on Ukraine. This weekend, the largest aerial attack since the war began.
Ukraine has launched one of the biggest drone attacks in history last night on the streets of Moscow. Nearly 100 drones terrorized Moscow residential neighborhoods and did not attack one single military installation. And these are one of the smaller drones that they launched. Many of them were about twice this size. Nearly 100 of these highly explosive drones from Ukraine launched into residential apartments and homes in Moscow. Russia was able to take down many of these, but some of them got through and hit families in their sleep. By the way, in 2025, Ukraine has launched more drone strikes on residential and civilian neighborhoods than Russia. The official statistics are 3 times as many. And last week, NATO said they're giving Ukraine full permission for unlimited range of their missiles, meaning Ukrainian NATO missiles will now be hitting Moscow. These missiles, by the way, are very hard to take down. And if we've seen anything from Ukraine, if they keep up the same strategy, these are going to hit apartments. How is this Russia's fault that whenever they respond with bigger weaponry because they're capable of it, they're the bad guy? And by the way, they target military installations.
How long does it take an F-22 Raptor to fly from the Las Vegas Strip to Los Angeles? Not too dang long, man. Clocked out at about 10 minutes and 15 seconds. Where do we fly next?
Do you believe the Russians are being disrespectful when they say that your criticisms of Putin are simply an emotional response? And do you still believe that Putin actually wants to end the war?
I can't tell you that, but I'll let you know in about 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, we're going to find out very soon. We're going to find out whether or not he's tapping us along or not. And if he is, we'll respond a little bit differently, but it'll take about a week and a half, 2 weeks. We have Mr. Witkoff is here, who's doing a phenomenal job, is dealing with them very strongly right now. They seem to want to do something, but until the document is signed, I can't tell you. Nobody can. I can say this. I can say this, that I'm very disappointed at what happened a couple of nights now where people were killed in the middle of what you would call a negotiation. I'm very disappointed by that. Very, very disappointed. Yeah.
Wait, so we actually know what happens when you die? Yep. In my last video, which has 6 million views, I talk about these studies that were done where they bring people under hypnosis, and while in hypnosis, they describe exactly what happens after you die. Not just one person, we're talking thousands of people who all describe it in the exact same way. And here's a quick recap. First, you float above your body and you have free will, so you can do what you want. You go through that tunnel of light, you're greeted by your soul family, you connect with your soulmates, and yes, you do have multiple soulmates. You do a life review. You put a lot of effort into choosing your next life, and you come back and do it all over again. Definitely watch that video if you want to learn more about all of that process. In this video, I'm gonna break down the first step, which is, what is it actually like to die? First of all, death is a profound and enlightening journey for the soul. At the moment of death, the soul feels the release of the constraints of the body. If the body is sick or immobile or in pain, it suddenly feels this freedom, an extraordinary freedom. For now, the soul still remains on Earth and looks down at its own body in awe, and sometimes some disorientation, because you're literally looking at yourself. And the whole, like, I'm dead thing is pretty mind-blowing. The soul's view of reality would begin to open. This realization that death is not the end, and they are on this cosmic journey through many lifetimes. This moment's not described by fear, but peaceful detachment. a remembering that they are just transferring from one form to another. And at any point, the soul can go and travel through that tunnel of light, but often they linger for a little bit to be with their loved ones and just witness the aftermath of their passing. And at this point, they do have free will, so they can do whatever they'd like or go wherever they'd like, which often looks like comforting those grieving loved ones, trying to give them energetic hugs, and yes, it is described as energetic hugs. So if you feel that tingly sensation when you're thinking about someone, it might actually be them. Souls do try to communicate with loved ones in really any way they can: signs, symbols, direct messages, those energetic hugs, or through mediums or past life regressions. Some souls describe this part as frustrating because those who are still alive are grieving so hard while they're going like, nah, I'm okay, like I'm right here. And while it's important to go through the whole grieving process, it's also important to recognize that that soul still exists. Like just stopping and go like, hey, I know you're still around, I may not be able to see you, but here's some love I'd like to share with you. And you can just like share a message out loud or in meditation. They love that. And since souls do have free will, they can choose to stick around as long as they want and not go through that tunnel of light. These lingering souls might be considered ghosts. Some people can even feel their presence. But every soul does have a spirit guide, so they're never really alone. And the spirit guide might be like, hey, you ready to head to the spirit realm? And eventually every soul does head up into that tunnel of light, which is a portal to the spirit realm, a highway for souls, the beginning of a soul's journey returning to its true home, continuing this eternal journey of the soul. As for what happens in the spirit realm, I will be breaking that down in the next video. All of this was described by people under hypnosis. It's called past life regression hypnotherapy, where essentially you bring someone into a past life using hypnosis. And when they describe how they died in a past life, this is essentially the process that they describe. And this wasn't just like one past life regression. This is thousands and thousands of people all brought under hypnosis. Whatever their belief was in the waking world, when they're under hypnosis, they all describe it in this way. The Newton Institute alone has already done 70,000 studies. It's honestly really, really interesting. And if you have any questions, drop your questions in the chat. I would love to answer them with a video. This whole subject is one of the most interesting things that I've stumbled upon. I've been working with some of the top past life regressionists on this planet to essentially create audio hypnosis versions of their past life regression sessions, ones that you could do from home. If you're interested in doing that and checking out your own past lives, you can check out my free past life masterclass, which is on my profile.
Hi, my name is Brianna Lafferty, and I had a near-death experience in 2017. I was very sick. I had already been sick with a chronic illness for 16 years. I had been medicating for those 16 years in different ways. I called out to the only God I knew that existed or might exist and said, I can't do this anymore. So I surrendered completely with my soul, my heart, and my body. And then I heard this big booming voice say, are you ready? I realized something had answered my prayer. And so yes, I'm ready. Ready for what? I don't know, but I'm ready. And so I felt 3 hard pounds on my chest. And just like that, my heart had stopped and I was separated from my body. I'm immediately in this black, velvety void, just full of love and energy. And I'm with the creator or God or source or the universe, whatever your beliefs, have you believe is the creator, where we come from, who created us, where we're from. And I get this question like, for a second, am I dead? I then go through this beautiful, vibrant blue tunnel filled with ones and zeros. I'm going at it like supersonic speed, and I'm being downloaded with information and binary code. And I just knew that it would be the code that I would need sometime later, which I didn't understand the concept of later because there was no concept of time. I then end up in a white room. I call it a room, but it has no doors, no windows, no walls, no floors. So it's this space. And there's this great master teacher behind me. And I relate this master teacher to the likeness of Krishna, Buddha, Muhammad, Jesus, the master teachers. And in front of me is a big pile of numbers. And I realized the universe is created in math. And I pick up these numbers and throw it up like I'm a little child, just no wonder you love creating. And I realized that the universe is created in math and code and programs. And I don't know why I found that so exciting, but I really did. I then end up in a space with other beings. And the reason I say beings instead of humans is because I have no idea if they're ever human. I didn't remember that I was ever a human. But there are other souls existing in this same space, the same dimension with me, next to me, experiencing things with me. I see some sliding down these beautiful trees covered in snow. I'm like, I don't think I like snow. And instantly it's turned to lush green, and I'm sliding down the trees next to these other beings, realizing they might be sliding down snow, even though I see green, that we could have these different experiences simultaneously together. We also danced, and we danced together as if we'd been choreographing these movements for millennium. No one spoke, but no one needed to. Thought instantly happened. Everyone was one. Everyone moved as one, communicated as one. You could hear without speaking, and you can talk without listening, and it was just absolutely amazing. It was more than telepathy. You think of telepathy as having a thought, someone reading it, then sending it back, and you reading that thought. But it was so instantaneous that telepathy really isn't really the right word. There was also a time where I tried to learn to fly, and I was awful at it. I ended up hitting a pole and severing my arm, and there's no pain. So I was just curious, like, oh, what's gonna happen? And I see my arm regrow in ones and zeros, in code, in program. And this place was just filled with curiosity and joy and love. And it was a place of learning and experiencing, and there was no judgment, there was no anger, there was no fear, there was no pain. So, when I lost my arm for a second, it wasn't scary. It was just like, oh, that's interesting. And then watching it grow back was absolutely fascinating. This is the area I spent the most amount of my experience in. Like I said, there's no time, so I can't really say how much time I spent in there.
And this is in another place that felt like a room with 7 magnificent, powerful entities. I still don't know exactly who they are. I haven't really heard any similar stories. I've got some ideas, but it's 6.5 years later and I'm still trying to find out who these powerful beings were. But in front of me, there's this beautiful scroll that's unrolled, and beautiful floating golden script being written out in front of me. And I know it's something huge, it's something important. And that's when my ego came back. And so this whole time in my experience, I was separate from my ego. Well, in this last area, unfolding probably the wisdom of the centuries, the wisdom of the universe, my ego comes back and says, ha, you're showing this to a human. And just like that, the scroll rolled up and I was snapped back into my body. And 8 minutes later, I felt my heart start again. But it felt like I had been gone from my body for so long. I didn't know exactly what happened or where I went. I was just positive if I opened my eyes, I was going to be buried, and I was going to have to figure out how to climb out of a coffin, out of the ground. I thought it had been weeks or months. So in my pre-birth plan, I chose a very hard life of chronic illness, depression, paranormal craziness for 16, 17 years before my near-death experience. Why do we choose such horrific things? It's purely for learning. So the people who have had some of the hardest battles become the strongest healers. Soul contracts are created mostly by your individual soul. We do also travel with soul clusters and people we will sign contracts with. So my mom and I have this conversation because she suffered a lot watching me suffer as a child, and her being a mother who couldn't, do much to comfort her own child. And since then, we've realized that we signed this contract together, that we would be on this journey together. She would play the role as my mother, my advocate, my warrior, and I would play the role as the chronic ill child. So, I made the contract of what I would experience, but I also made it with her. And she made her own contract that, she was going to experience. She was going to have her own soul education and growth through the experiences I had.
If I'm being completely honest, that whole story just sounded like she was having a big DMT trip. Near-death experiences to me are a little bit weirder than death. You have no idea if your brain is fully stopped, you know what I'm saying? Because when you go to sleep, your brain is still active, and that's called a dream. So if you're in a near-death experience and your heart does stop, your brain activity doesn't stop. So I don't really know how that would really correlate.
This rapper exposes how dark Hollywood really is.
The song was so big, and then they told me I had to kind of sacrifice something. They said you're gonna have to pay it back because put this information out there, this is gonna put people in the wrong mindset of what we're trying to do in society. So they told me that if I don't do these list of things, then they are going to hurt my family or hurt people that I really care about. And they told me to go to this office. It was on Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. And then when I went in, I asked them over the phone, what are they gonna have me do? They said they couldn't tell me. And then when I went into the office, they sat me down and it was like an all white room, and they opened one of the doors and it had a Gucci suit. A bodysuit. And I said, oh no, please don't tell me that is what I think it is. They said, yeah, it's exactly what you think it is, pal. And I said, no, please no, not the Gucci suit. They said it's the Gucci suit. This is the only way that you can repay for what you've done. And I said, not the Gucci suit, please.
So who knows if the Gucci suit thing is real? But if you've heard the song he's talking about, they definitely don't want that kind of message out. Hollywood and the industry want as much negative music out as possible. So anything that goes against that, they don't want. As always, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay weird.
Just when you think we have seen it all from Zuck, we are now finding out that he suggested wiping everyone's Facebook friends and making users start again to boost the platform's relevance. Bro, just think about how many times Zuck has said the core mission for all of his platforms is to connect people. So this shocking revelation came after he took to the witness stand on Monday, which if you didn't know, the US government currently has a lawsuit against Meta for anti-competitive practices, and the trial to force Zuck into selling Instagram and WhatsApp begun this week. Now in this trial, a bunch of leaked emails were submitted as evidence, one of which entailed his wild strategy that he proposed to boost Facebook's tanking relevance. It read, one potentially crazy idea is to consider wiping everyone's graphs and having them start again. Fortunately though, for everyone's parents, this idea was met with pushback from other executives and it was never carried out. But it does show you the lengths that Zuck is willing to go to remain.
To be fair to Zuckerberg, I feel like that was more of just an idea. He was just throwing something out there as maybe a joke. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know Zuckerberg personally, so I can't even speak for him, but I don't think he was being serious about that. But yeah, it's crazy how for the longest they were ban TikTok, they're stealing our data. Whole time Instagram, a US based company, is doing the same thing. And apparently they're even selling it to the competitor, so that's just how it is. But anyways, if you guys like this video, remember to like the video. We're on our road to 100K. If you haven't subscribed, smash that subscribe button. YouTube said you guys would like this video, so click on this video right here. It's amazing.